So hopefully you're beginning to see some of the incredible significance of the ascension of Jesus to heaven and why it's recorded in the Bible. And as we read through the New Testament, we see that the New Testament writers clearly recognized that Jesus' ascension had significance. We see not only is it a picture of Jesus ascending to a real place and heaven being a real place that can offer hope, we not only see that Jesus is glorified and he had glory before he came to earth, but gets a whole new glory as a result of what he's done. But we also see that Jesus being at the right hand of the Father means that there's an authority that he has, an authority that we can claim and we can experience. The ascension of Jesus has significance for us as Christians today. And just to look at some of the things that the New Testament writers draw out as a result might help us to understand something of what it is that awaits us and what it awaits us at the end of time. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, as Paul writes to the church in Thessalonica, he writes to people who, having been expecting Jesus to return after he'd ascended to heaven, started to see their brothers and sisters dying and wondering whether that meant that they were going to miss out on the promise of Jesus' return. And Paul writes to them, "According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep or who have died. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with him in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." The picture that Paul's writing is that Jesus' ascension, where he ascended into the clouds, is a picture of what will happen to us. That Jesus' ascension, it also speaks of our ascension. That promise of what happens to us, that ascension for us, is also speaking about our eternal destiny. And it promises us about our final destination. Jesus said to his disciples, "I'm going, in my Father's house are many rooms. I'm going to prepare a place for you, and I'll come back and take you to be with me." We have an invitation to live life, to run the race in abundance and in life to the fullness. And we can run that race and live that life knowing that we will share in the blessings of Jesus. The ascension of Jesus, it also means that we can share in the authority of God. Through our union with Jesus, through being united with Christ, and baptism is a great picture of us making that decision to be united with Christ. In Ephesians chapter 2, Paul writes to the church in Ephesus and says to them that God raised us up with him, with Jesus, and to sit in heavenly places with Christ. The picture we have of Jesus' authority and Jesus sitting at the right hand means that we are pictured as having that same authority of being seated with him. In other words, we have power to do battle with weapons that have divine power to destroy strongholds. The strongholds that hold people today, that lock people up, whether that's through things that they've done, things that have been done to them, or just from living in a fallen, broken world. The authority that Jesus has at the right hand of God that is given to us means that we hold keys to help people unlock things that keep them bound up. We have power to see people being set free because Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. But the ascension of Jesus also, in sharing this authority, it has a number of other sort of implications for us which are a little bit mind-blowing. In 1 Corinthians 6, when Paul's challenging the church about having good relationships with each other, where the church are taking each other to court, and Paul's going, "No, don't do that." He says to them, "Don't you know that you'll be given authority to judge angels?" In Hebrews chapter 2 and verses 5 to 8, we see that the person who writes that recognises that the authority that Jesus has, which is given to us, means that we will have authority over creation. And in Revelation 2 and verse 26, Jesus is saying that to that person who overcomes, they'll have the authority to empower over nations. we will share in the promises of God in eternity. That is an amazing privilege. That goes way beyond anything that we can even imagine in this life. We have amazing promises awaiting us because of Jesus' ascension, because Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. I guess the challenge for us is, what do we do with that? I pray that that will motivate us as Christians, motivate us to want to share our faith with other people, because we have these promises of eternity that mean we have an eternity to look forward to. But the Bible's quite clear that if we don't come into a living relationship with Jesus, if we're not born again, then actually the destiny that awaits us is hell. We should have a motivation that comes from wanting to see people being rescued from the gates of hell. We have an opportunity to know God better and to live lives worthy of that calling, and to really grasp hold of that newfound authority we have because Jesus is alive and sitting at the right hand of the Father. Is that something that we need to grasp hold of today, to actually discover some of that power that the early church had to be world changers?